Lots to cover in this video, but the first thing is going to be a wintry storm imminent over parts of the Northeast, bringing heavy rainfall as well as some heavy snowfall. I'll detail those snowfall totals there, as well as in the Pacific Northwest as systems strike both of these zones. Details on that, a big warm-up coming up, and your full forecast for the U.S. in this video, so stick around. Alright, let's take a look at your National Weather Service alerts map for your evening here on your Saturday. These alerts are going to continue for a little while here. You can see we've got winter storm alerts over parts of the Northeast, as well as the southern end of that system, bringing some flood alerts to parts of the Florida Panhandle and far southeastern Alabama. A big mess of alerts in the Northwest with winter storm warnings in the pink. We've got some winter storm advisories in some of the blue colors, and flood alerts right along that immediate Pacific Northwest coastline. Now let's start with what's going on here in the east. We've got rainfall gathering together with a new system that's moving southeast to northwest here. There's also a very small area here of some snowfall in parts of Kansas and Nebraska, and that's actually going to play into how this low-pressure system forms as both combine here in the Ohio Valley and move towards the northeast. So let's kind of take a look at how that plays out here. You can see as we make our way towards our midnight tonight on your Saturday night, a big mess of some showers and storms over parts of the southeast, mostly sub-severe here, although right back towards the Gulf Coast, maybe a brief spin-up tornado possible in those cells. Also notice we've got some rainfall into parts of the Midwest, parts of southeastern, say, Iowa as well as northern Minnesota could get in on a little bit of light to moderate snowfall as well as this makes its way on through. Notice how that turns over to snowfall for a lot of people here into Wisconsin, northern Illinois, maybe some flakes flying into parts of Chicago into the nighttime tonight as that eastern end of this system works its way up the east coast. And yeah, I call it a system now because these pretty much combine into one. You can see the wraparound northeast flow there into parts of the Great Lakes, whereas we've got a south to north flow on that eastern side of the system in the New England states, and we've got some very heavy rainfall moving into parts of Albany, New York, towards Boston, the Cape Cod region there. And then we shift our attention on over to the northeast, parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, getting in on some very hefty snowfall, especially in the higher elevation. Notice those grayer colors right where the rain meets the snow. That's where we could see some heavy snow, and it will be very wet snow at that as it falls in those zones. Augusta, Maine, Bangor, on over in those zones as well. That's where we'll see some snowfall and quite heavy rates. Places like Boston pretty much staying as rain, as well as back on over towards New York where the rain will be heavy at times. And then here we go, moving the timeline along here. You can see how this low pressure system with the wraparound moisture continues to bring a pretty hefty sum of some snowfall there into parts of Maine, especially as we make our way towards our Monday morning, by the way. That's the time frame that we're looking at this point. So pretty much a Sunday system with the wraparound moisture lingering into our Monday. You can see some of the precipitation there, especially impacting parts of northern Pennsylvania as well as into New York with the wraparound moisture and the lake effect bands that come off of Erie and Ontario there. Now, in terms of our snowfall, this is HRRR model through the next couple of days. This is just the next 48 hours through your December 4th. You can see some totals of an inch or two through parts of southeastern Iowa, moving on into northern Illinois near Rockford, into parts of Wisconsin, half an inch to 2 inches of snowfall there, so pretty much a dusting to 2 inches. Notice the higher elevations here in Vermont, parts of New Hampshire, we could see some snowfall totals anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow. Some spots in the very tip-top elevations, maybe close to a foot there, as well as in southwestern Maine. But even in places like Bangor, Maine, down towards the coastline, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snowfall there. So keep in mind that this will be a pretty nice event there. But in parts of Massachusetts, it pretty much stays all north and west of Boston. By the way, I've got 956 subscribers. If you can get me to my 1,000 subscriber goal by the end of the year, that really helps me out, and I appreciate all support that you can bring. Now, overall, just tracking systems here with the European model, you can see we've got some snowfall back into parts of northeast Idaho, western Montana, as well as in the Rockies here, entering the Rockies at least with some gusty winds as well, while that system makes its way through the northeast on our Sunday. A little bit of low pressure there over the plains, though nothing really coming out of it. Our Sunday night into our Monday, maybe some very light rain moving through into parts of Kentucky and Tennessee with that system. But anyway, the main focal point here that I want to point out is this zone in the Pacific Northwest where rainfall continues to push onto that immediate coastline, snowfall in the Cascades. This is going to be a very heavy bout of just precipitation in general. Notice how it continues into our Tuesday and into this week. It's really just going to be a persistent pattern, which is why by the end of the week, by our December 8th time frame, we could pick up a solid 4 to 8 inches of rainfall here into parts of western Washington, western Oregon as well as far northwestern California. Some spots could locally pick up a foot of rain right along that immediate Pacific Northwest coastline. Of course, the Cascades seeing some snowfall, and that could amount anywhere from a foot to 3 feet of snowfall there, especially in Oregon, looking to be the bullseye for the heaviest snow into some of those zones. in the higher elevations. And then on over into Idaho, western Montana. We've got this in southeastern Idaho in the mountains there. We've got parts of northwestern Wyoming, anywhere from around 6 inches to a foot to foot and a half, and a lot of these zones of very hefty snowfall. And of course, the higher up you go with elevation, the windier and snowier it will be. Speaking of those wind gusts here, you can see we'll have these wind gusts anywhere 30, 40, 50 miles per hour with elevation there in the Mountain West on your Sunday early morning. Also notice breeze picking up with that system on the East Coast by our Sunday night into our Monday. Here we go into our Monday afternoon. We've got leftover breeze into parts of the southeast, so some gusts anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour over that region Monday afternoon. We've also got gusts coming out of the northwest here in the north central plains, as well as parts of the Rockies and the Mountain West, gusting anywhere from 30 to 50 miles per hour. Will trigger some wind advisories and high wind warnings there, I'm sure. That bout of energy continues moving eastward as well, and then we'll eventually see more 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts move into parts of Missouri and Illinois, with 20 mile per hour wind gusts surrounding that into parts of the Ohio Valley and southeast. Notice here as we make our way with time, continuing towards the end of the week, we just see bout after bout of these gusty winds crossing the country, more of them in the central plains, as well as back on off towards the Pacific Northwest by our Friday, December 8th, anywhere gusting from 30 to 50 miles per hour once again. So breezy times ahead for a lot of zones. And another thing that it's going to be for a lot of spots is going to be warmer than average, especially as we make our way towards the eastern part of the country by our December 8th through our 12th. This is your 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from that Climate Prediction Center. Areas from Des Moines, Iowa, on up towards Minneapolis, Minnesota, Madison, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, on down to Louisville in the bullseye for much warmer than average temperatures during this time period. That's as ridging develops over this area. And let's time that out with your temperature anomaly tracking from the European model. You can see here we've got warmer than average air. The key is on your right. You can see warming up anywhere from really 15 to 25 degrees above average by our December 7th. So this is as we're making our way towards our Thursday time frame of this week. The only areas really maintaining slightly cooler than average conditions behind the little nor'easter system we're getting right now in the East Coast. Other than that, though, the warming trend is going to be, pretty much dominating the pattern here. And as we make our way towards our December 8th, December 9th time frame, we see the red colors of those 10, 15, 20 degree anomalies over parts of the Midwest on up into the north central United States, into the Great Lakes as well. Pretty much the entire country boxed off by high pressure, at least temporarily, but these warmer than average trends never last long. And you can see by the time we make our way towards, say, our December 9th, December 10th, that's when we get cool air pushing on it from parts of the west. And look at how this ridging is going to begin to build eastward. We'll see warmer than average air sink southeastward into parts of the Carolinas, Georgia, back on over towards Alabama, Mississippi, and the Arklatex region, while that cooler than average air, those negative anomalies there into parts of the Four Corners and the Mountain West. Notice how those blues shift into parts of the southern plains by our December 10th, while warmer than average air is quite immense here over parts of the southeast. When you see cold and warm air meet up like this is when you have a recipe for severe weather, as well as just an overall low pressure system to develop. So I would watch these zones where this is meeting up there into parts of the plains, the south central, the lower Mississippi River Valley, all these zones for some severe weather potential as we head towards December 10th, with a potential snowstorm over the north central maybe in some of the cooler zones. Now in terms of your storm system energy, this is exactly what we're looking at. By our December 9th, you can see a low pressure collecting itself over parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. This low pressure is going to have that wraparound flow, and we could probably see more gusty winds with that system as well. And then notice what we begin to see happen. It shifts on off towards the northeast by our December 10th. Again, this is as we're making our way towards our Sunday, December 10th. You can see the southern end of this. We've got enough vorticity that's just spinning the atmosphere. We could see some severe weather really erupt there. And we are still in fall severe weather season. Then this begins to look a little bit more like a front by the time we make our way towards the 11th, 12th time frame. But again, this is preliminary. This is the European model. The GFS also showing something similar. So this is why we need to just look at what could be cooking down the 7 to 10 day time frame. But right now, it's just time to keep an eye on it, but not necessarily worry about it just yet. Just be prepared for a potential severe weather return by our December 11th time frame to parts of eastern Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, as well as southern Missouri, parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, into Mississippi, western Tennessee, as well as western Alabama. That's where I'm primarily thinking severe weather will be possible with this system. Although if the warm air extends further north, we could see that extend all the way into parts of the Midwest. But anyway, once again, please help me get to that subscriber goal. But that's all I got for this video. Thank you so much for all you do to support my channel, and have a great day.
One Nation Weather.